Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The first people to live in North America were the American Indian. Native Americans, according to the religious and folk stories of many Indian groups, their earliest ancestor arrived in North America from the inside of the earth. Modern scientists, however, believe that the first Native Americans came from Asia 50,000 to 80,000 years ago across the Bering Strait from Siberia to Alaska. They were nomads, that is, they didn't live in one place, but instead were always on the move as they looked for food. In other words, the first American Indians were hunters who followed the animals their food source during time of migration from place to place. Together, the nomadic people and animals slowly migrated toward the south. These early inhabitants spread out all over the North American continent, or New Canada, the United States, and Mexico. There was a great variety of languages, religious beliefs, and custom among many tribes or groups of Indians. By the time the first Europeans arrived, the Indians were living in several different cultures area. The members of various tribes in each center of culture had frequent contact with one another and shared similar characteristics, but they didn't have much in common with tribes in other culture areas. For example, the Pima and Papago tribes of the southwestern desert had similar customs and habits, but their lifestyle was completely different from that of the Sioux who live on the plains, the Apaches in southwest, and the Quaker and Tulite on the northwest coast, or the Natchez and Tonkaws on the Gulf Coast in the Florida. The lifestyle of the people who live in each culture area reflected the geography of that area. The inhabitants of the Northwest Coast, or now British Columbia, Canada, lived by hunting and fishing, but they didn't lead a nomadic life. They didn't need to follow animals from place to place because they could take advantage of the resource where they were living. The oceans and rivers produce salmon, halibut, and many other fish. The forests were rich in animal life. They offered deer, elk, and bear as well as smaller animals. In the forest, the inhabitants could also find berries to eat and wood for boots, furniture, and houses. Geography influenced other areas of life too. Hunting was seasonal work best in the summer, therefore the tribe members were very busy at certain time of year. But in other seasons, they had the opportunity to spend time in creative activities such as woodworking, an art form for which the Northwest Coast Indian became well known. Unlike the inhabitants of the Northwest Coast, the Indian of the Eastern Plain had an agriculture society. They lived in farming communities and raised crops of corn, beans, squash, and tobacco. The members of this tribe lived differently from those in Northwest. Because there were a few trees on the flatland, their houses were of earth instead of wood. While the food was growing, the people stayed in their communities. Yet after the harvest, when they had both in the crops, the Indians rode waste on horses they had gotten from Spanish farmers to hunt buffalo. During the month when they were working from buffalo, the lifestyle of the hunters was similar to that of the nomadic tribes on the western plains. To these plains, Indians, both eastern and western, the buffalo was very important. It provided many necessities, meat, skin for teepees, or houses that people could carry, clothing and materials from spoons, bag, and bats. The buffalo hunt was also central to many artistic, social, and religious activities. When Europeans arrived in the North America contained several hundred years ago, the Native Americans' old way of life began to change. The difference between Europeans and India values soon led to difficulties. As the rights movie ways, they took over more and more than the land from themselves. But they had lost something even more important, their sense of identity. When the Plains Indians, for instance, lost their hunting grounds, and when the buffalo became almost extinct, the most important characteristic of their society, the buffalo hunt, was gone. Today, although some Native Americans live in urban areas, many live on reservation land that the government set aside from them. Some tribes have held on the language and ancient custom of their ancestors, while others, in general, have forgotten the old ways. Although some groups are relatively wealthy, most are very poor and have had to receive help from the government. In recent years, many tribes have begun to regain their sense of identity and their cultural heritage. They are having wars once again, this time in court, where they have succeeded in several legal battles. They are fighting to win back their lands and their fishing and hunting rights, the base of their ancestor ways of life. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.